again. Should have blown my nose before I hit the start streaming button, but hey, here we are. Alright. Let's see if we're rolling here. Pepsi Cola is giving me congrats here. Thanks, Pepsi Cola. And so is Elephant Chainsaw. Thank you as well. Alright, can everybody hear me okay? I hope so. Hey Derek, thank you for the congrats. We did, we crushed the goal. We crushed all the goals, which is great. It's kind of crazy. I sort of forgot, it's been a minute since I'd run a campaign, so I kind of forgot that there's, I kind of forgot that there's, you know, a lot of times at the end of the campaign, people that have been following it but haven't pledged yet will all jump on. And then the other thing that happens is once you hit your initial goal, a lot of people will start jumping on because they're like, oh, well, this is definitely happening, so now I want one. So yeah, but to start off, just want to say thanks to everybody who backed ERIS on Kickstarter. It was, let's see, we ended this morning at 9 o'clock, and it was a really good time to end it because, you know, you know, sometimes you want to start your campaign at night, then people can end it at night and have the last minute pledges. I always started in the morning. I feel like the first day pledges are always more important to me. But there's some ups and downs that come with running a campaign. If you guys have ever done it out there, you know. But I'm really happy with how it all turned out, and I can't wait to finalize my print files and get this off to the printer, and then, you know, get it into you guys' hands. It's really exciting. It was a labor of love, and of course I don't have a copy here to look at, but here's the cover, the ERIS number to the ERIS collection. And oops, I should probably move those. No one can see that. That's a secret project. Alright, but yeah, here's the cover to ERIS, the collection. I think I mentioned this on another stream. I pulled this out, but this has zip tones on it, or you know, screen tones. But the actual image on the cover doesn't have screen tones. I did the drawing, scanned it in, because I kind of wanted to do screen tones, but I wasn't sure. And then I did the screen tones and I scanned that in. And then as I was kind of playing with the color and getting it ready, kind of laying it out, I just thought it looked a little better without it once I had some colors locked in on it. So I went ahead and mixed it. So, but the original art has the screen tone on it. And it kind of gives a similar effect in black and white as what I was going for with the, you know, with the when I did the color version. So, but yes, thank you to everyone who backed us. We had an awesome time running the campaign, and I feel very, you know, honored that people were jumping on board. So tonight I was thinking, you know, not a super long stream, but a quick stream and just kind of going over some of the Kickstarter information, and then maybe showing some pages that I haven't shown yet from ERIS Chapter 3, and give you some behind the scenes on that, and then do a quick flip through of a couple new purchases, or well, a new purchase and an old purchase. I got Tradmore's Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise here. I finally picked up the Treasury edition. And then I also have X-Force number, I don't know, 111, is that what that is? But this is an issue drawn by Jason Pearson, who's an artist that I've always really dug. So first let's talk some ERIS stuff. So we crushed all 4 or 5 stretch goals. So you guys were so awesome and helped us get to those stretch goals. And so the first one being, there's a source book that I'm going to have added to it, and that's going to feature a lot of the pinups that you guys have seen during the campaign by lots of awesome artists like Derek and some other folks that are sometimes on the stream, like Edison Neo and some other folks. I name checked them all in the last update. So what it'll be is cool pinups then with text over it that gives you information about different characters and different parts of the ERIS world, and so you can learn more about it. So I like to keep the storytelling in my books sort of sparse on exposition, and sort of try to build things just through the visuals and through the actions of the characters. But then, there is a lot of world building that we've done, me and Logan, in the background of like who these guys are and what their histories are. And so we thought it'd be fun to share that with people, so you can maybe have a new appreciation of it or give it another read through after learning more about the characters. And it's sort of a throwback 90s style thing. I was always big on the Image source books and the Marvel source books that would have, the characters' height and their power scale or whatever. We're not going to do a power scale on everybody, but their bio and all that kind of stuff. And so we're going for that kind of a vibe with it. The next one we unlocked was printing upgrades. So we're going to do a spot varnish. And I was going to originally do it just on the logo, but I'm debating also maybe adding it to the figures, considering how the design turned out. So I can't tell you exactly where the spot varnish will be, but I'm going to decide that in the next couple weeks as I get the book files ready to go. Because I love a spot varnish. And that's that glossy coating that'll just be on certain sections is what a spot varnish is. And so you've probably seen it on books. We did it on the Schlub trade paperback. I did it on ERIS when I did the issue 2 release. And then the other thing that I feel like not enough people do that I'm going to do is we're going to have painted edges. And so that means that the edge of the book where the pages are, this edge will be painted, and this edge and this edge. And so we're going to have like a nice, hopefully a spot pink color that matches sort of the cover. And so it'll kind of have a solid look to it, a solid feel. And then there'll be a nice soft touch on the cover as well, so it has a similar feel to some of the other books I put out. The next stretch goal after that is the Daniel Warren Johnson alternate cover. Now this is one I got a lot of questions about, so I thought I'd take a second here to address some of those questions. So, there was no cover to show because if we didn't reach the goal, Dan's a busy guy, and I wasn't going to make him do a cover for me if we weren't going to be able to use it. And so since we did unlock it, he is going to get cracking on that. And as soon as that's ready, that'll probably be the last thing before we get it ready to send off to the printers. That and collecting maybe some numbers of things. And so we originally were going to upcharge for that alternate cover option, but instead it's just going to be the same price as the regular cover, but you can only choose one. Now if you do want to get a second copy so you can have both covers, that'll be something we can definitely work out between you and I, if you're a backer, and see if we can do that. But I'm also going to need to kind of just look at the numbers about how many we can print and stuff, and then make them available to folks. And so yeah, I'm excited about that. I mean, I love Dan, I love his work, and to have him on a cover for my book is really fun. I've done covers for him, but he's never really done a cover for me, so I'm kind of excited to finally get to equal out the trades there, So, and I think even though we've not seen it yet, I'm sure it'll be great. But I also wanted to give people a chance to choose and have time to think about it. Whereas when we unlocked his stretch goal, I think we only had 11 hours left, and so I thought if I put it up there right now, a bunch of people are probably not going to see this, and then they'll unfairly miss out on their chance to get that cover. So we decided to just go ahead and make it an option we select when we fill out surveys. So yeah, that's the next stretch goal that we did. I'm really excited to see what we can come up with Dan on that. And then we unlocked stickers, so everyone who backed at the physical level will be getting stickers. With your order. I did stickers on the last 2 campaigns. I love stickers; they're great. It's just going to be the ERIS logo. I'm really proud of how it looks, and I stick it on things. So I hope people will dig that. And then the last one that we unlocked at the 14,000 level was the artist edition. So I love artist editions, and if I could do a big printed artist edition, I absolutely would. But unfortunately, those are pretty expensive to print. And so what we do is a PDF, and that way we can include all the art plus a lot of other stuff, and we're not limited by page count. Now these files will be big, juicy. I remember I was talking to my collaborator on another project, Aubrey Sitterson, about the artist edition that we did for ERIS, and he was like, that thing was, packed, because it was. We put commentary on the pages, and we had the whole script in there. which I'm not sure if we'll do all of that this time, but what we will include is the artist edition for chapter 1 that I did, the artist edition for chapter 2, and then a fresh one for chapter 3 that also has some stuff about the whole book, collection. So, it'll have, and then what it has is scans of the raw artwork. So yeah, they're not prints, but it'll be a nice scan if you're on a desktop or a laptop and you look at it. It'll be fairly detailed, and you can see the blue lines on it. You'll be able to see the splatter marks and all that kind of stuff, because I love to look at that stuff. And so that's just something everyone will get back at any level as well. And that might take a minute. We'll probably start getting that together after we send the books to the printer. That way the books will be getting printed, and we can work on the artist edition and then send that out probably after the books start shipping is when we'll release the artist edition, because it doesn't make sense to have it until you've seen the actual book. So hey, there's Jeremy Heiler. Jeremy, thanks. Jeremy also did a pretty awesome pinup for us. Really talented guy. So yeah, those are all the stretch goals we unlocked, and that's how we're going to handle them. All that's going to be, it's on the updates that we posted on the campaign, so if you are a backer, just go over there and check it out and see what I said there. And we're always going to try to work with y'all and keep you updated, and we'll probably even be releasing some more content as we're waiting for stuff to come from the printer. So I might post up, like I actually just the other day I got permission to post an interview I did with the Comics Journal, so I might put that up on one of the updates, and then I might put some of the past pinups that we had up there and just kind of showcase some stuff. Maybe I'll do a video. I'll definitely be doing live streams too and touching on that stuff. Greg Parker, woo doggies, congrats Tyrell on the success of the Kickstarter. Thanks so much, Greg. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all you guys who tune in and help spread the word, not only about this channel, but about my projects. If you haven't already, folks, hit that like button for me. It really helps. And subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell if you feel like it, if you're so inclined. I don't stream that much, and so it's good that you get a little alert when I am going to stream, and then you don't miss it. But yeah, so here we go. So while I keep yammering on here, why don't I pick a page that nobody has seen yet, that's not too spoilery, and show you guys for the first time as kind of a little fun celebration thing. Well, that one's a little X-rated. The hard part is finding ones that aren't. This last final chapter has a lot of. It's very R-rated, and we will have the R rating on the back of the book. I love the old R rating, and so you guys will be able to see all the fun stuff. When you look at the back, it'll say language and violence and graphic violence and nudity and all that kind of stuff. As big 80s movies, 90s movies guys, and fans of kind of that kind of movie, Logan and I couldn't miss the opportunity to do that. Okay, I swear I will find a page that's not spoilery that I haven't shown yet. I'm having a hard time finding the one I wanted to show, because it's really cool. But anyway, hope some of you backers are on here. Greg Parker says, can't say kiddo's bedtime. Well, thanks, man. Have a good time seeing your kids. That's way more important than my stream. So please, thank you for stopping by. Oh my gosh, where is that? This is the part where I get frustrated. I could have sworn I had it right here. I should have done this prior to the stream. I know. Some pages I've redrawn a couple of these, so there's like an A version and a B version on some of these pages, which I guess is kind of ridiculous. But I'm kind of ridiculous. So here we go. Now we're getting to it. There's so many pages in this too. It's like I'm flipping through. It's like, oh my gosh, the pages are starting to get heavy. Here we go. Here is the first full page appearance of Bosch. So Bosch is the not really, I guess you'd call the villain of the piece. Bosch is the rogue agent that the ERIS Vanguard is on a mission to either apprehend, kill, and otherwise eliminate. And this drawing took so long to do. Like, I tell you, I probably spent almost as much time on this as I did on some of the 2-page spreads, just because I wanted to get it just right, and having someone walk towards the viewer, and to have drama, and to have posture, and to have like attitude. It went through a lot of iterations, and I got a lot of help from some buddies by showing them and getting their feedback. Jason Howard was really helpful in helping me figure this one out. Ryan Stegman too. Let's see, and Riley Rossmo. Those three in particular. All my buddies in the group, but those three all did draw overs on a couple of my iterations and kind of helped point out some ideas and fix some things. And Jason and Stegman really had some good feedback about just how it's important to have overlapping shapes and forms in the drawing, and to have a good balance of light and dark. One thing that is interesting too on these is that I color the pages too, and I know that when I'm drawing it. So there's a lot of times where I'll do a drawing in a different way for myself, since I'm coloring it, than I would if someone else was coloring it, because sometimes you want to make some elements stronger in the black and white, because you can control that. You can't control how someone else is going to color it. But if I'm coloring it, I can control all the different aspects, and so I will factor that in. I've probably mentioned this before. The other thing that I really like how I did here is I was using a lot more delicate lines, which I probably need to get back to. The thing I'm working on right now could stand some. And then this is where I started figuring out kind of how to do. They're not quite feathered edges, but they're also not like hatched edges. They're sort of like, I don't know what you call it. They're like, it's like a zigzag shape edge, and how that can sort of work as a gradient shade, and have cool shapes on her. But yeah, I penciled this and like thumbnailed it for like forever, just multiple iterations. And when I finally got it to paper, I was like, oh my gosh, like, am I going to get this? But I'm really happy with how it turned out. So that's Bosch right there. And Bosch is, I think everyone's in for a ride here. There's another page right here that I really wish I could show, but it is like the most spoilery page in the whole thing. After the books are out in people's hands, I'll probably do a original art walkthrough on this, which is something I've done for a lot of my other books. Like on some of the Schlub issues, after they were out, I would do a walkthrough where I would go through the whole issue's original art and sort of talk about what I was doing. And I think people like those, so if you like them, I'm going to do it again, but I want to wait till people have the books so that I can do it, and show the spoilery stuff, or at least some of it. I probably won't show all of it, because there's always potentially more people out there that want to see it and not have it ruined. Derek says, tight, love that dry brush on her. Yeah, a little bit of dry brush on there, I can't resist. I'm trying to not do that as much on what I'm working on right now, just because it's a new project with a new place, and I don't know. Part of me wants to just make it as clear and easy as possible when I give the files in. Then it's like, this is clear what's going on here. I'm probably overthinking it. I'm sure I'll loosen up as time goes on, but yeah. So, real quick, I wanted to look through a couple books that I've been looking at lately, kind of influencing me. I'm always looking at these two guys, Tradmore and Jason Pearson. They've both been pretty big influences on my work, especially lately. Influences change over time, right? There's a time that I probably would have named 2 other people, but these 2 are the ones that I keep coming back to in the last few years. And Pearson and Trad both are interesting in that they both have multiple sort of iterations of their style as time goes on. They are definitely artists that continue to evolve, whereas some artists maybe find their lane and kind of stay in it. These 2 seem like they're always, well, Jason is no longer with us, but they seem like they've always both been, trying something different, And some iterations you like more than others, I think, but they're all good. Like, I've liked pretty much every iteration of Trad, and most iterations of Pearson are really good as well. This one is one that I'm coming around to. But anyway, this issue of X-Force was written by Robert Kirkman and Jason Pearson on art, and then Dave Stewart on colors. And you know what? Like, this is a while back. This is 2010. So this is before a lot of these guys were like. Pearson might have been one of the more well-known people on the lineup here, but I could be wrong. But Dave Stewart, of course, is like everybody knows Dave Stewart now. His stuff's amazing, and Robert Kirkman, of course, we all know who Robert Kirkman is. So this iteration of Jason Pearson, he has a lot less brushed, hatched inking. There's a lot more clean lines, or like kind of pen lines on the outlines, rather than if you go to body bags or something else, a lot of the outlines have a lot of shape to them, like they were done with a brush or a nib pen, so there's like a thin to thick on them. But in these ones, it seems like it's a lot more solid lines all around, black shapes, and then black shapes for shading, and not as much of the hatching and stuff. No, there's obviously some hatching here and there, but if you compare this to body bags, it's like, it's night and day, and then he uses way more, it's obviously, I think part of it is him trying to be a little efficient to get these gigs done, because I do feel like I've heard that he was pretty slow, and a perfectionist. And so to just use silhouette, it's striking and it works in a lot of contexts, and so it's a good tool, and it's also very efficient. It's so much less rendering and so much less worrying about getting every muscle exactly where it's supposed to be. And so, if you can pop some silhouette in there, you're in business. It's still got some cool Pearson storytelling. It's almost like even with the storytelling, he's simplified, because his page layouts, they're good in this, but if you look at something, again, like body bags or some of his earlier work, there's like really interesting layouts where panels overlap a lot more, and there'll be really small panels and big panels. And on this, he's still great storytelling, very efficient and very clear. But yeah, efficient is how I would say it. It's not as flashy, right? A lot sparser on the backgrounds than you'd normally see in his other stuff. But at the same time, it's still good. There's still a lot of really cool cartooning in it. There's still a lot of really great figures, cool designs, great angle choices. It's sort of like this is like the most stripped down Pearson, in my opinion. Well, there was a little phase of body bags where it was almost like an animated series looking, and that was probably, I don't know if I would call that stripped down as much as it's just more like simplified stylistically, because those still had really detailed background and stuff. This is great. He's wrecking these dudes, and you just get the bodies falling. Like, how efficient is that to show how how much damage he's doing, right? You just got 10 shapes falling over a background. Oh yeah, I was going to mention, there's so many ads in these things, man. Look at that. It's like every other page is an ad. I guess most comics are still like that now, but it is, ugh. Honestly, they might not be. I don't know if ODST is going to advertise in comics. They might. I love this game. I don't know if anybody else loved this game, but this game was tight, man. ODST. I played that a lot. It was fun. What else did we get? John Cena. And then Joe Kubert's School of Art. I always thought those were cool ads. Look at this, another one. Oh, man. And as a comic artist, like, gosh, I can't think of something more frustrating than just having ads right in the middle of something that I've thought about, like how two pages that face each other are going to read, right? And so you get things like this. Like, this page really should have been here, so that you had this big moment here, and then this building tension, and the page turn. If this was the page turn where this page was revealed here, that would be so much better. And who knows, maybe that's the way he designed it. But anyway, you got him waiting in the elevator. There's a good bit here, and then these dudes open up on him, and then he's, all these bullet holes, and he's like, let's do it. And then you get this great spread, and that's a cool spread. I love this. He stylized his bodies a lot throughout his whole career, but in this phase there was like this big torso and then the kind of stubby arms, but I kind of like it, especially for Wolverine. I was always in love with all of his bullet hits and like the way he drew effects, which is something that I like to focus on too. I mean, he still drew a jet, he drew all this. I mean, there's still a lot of detail in this. I'm calling it stripped down, but it's more detailed than almost any modern comic. It's pretty cool though. He chops this dude's arm in 3. I love this big face. I like his Wolverine is one of the ones I like the look of. Oh yeah, Derek, this is definitely up your alley, man. If you like my Wolverine, which I think you do, Pearson is a big influence on that. There's some kind of backup story in here by Carlo Barberi, inks by Sandy Fourier. It's okay. It's kind of it sort of looks like a Pacheco, Madureira sort of knockoff feeling. Some good stuff though. There's like no backgrounds in this. Anyway, that's X-Force. This is X-Force Annual, January 2010. 111 is what it's, no, that's just the barcode. I don't know what number this is. Oh, number 1. X-Force Annual number 1. But who knows how many X-Force Annual number 1s there are with Marvel's numbering schemes. No shade, just saying. Take a drink here, check in. Interesting note regarding the ad. Never noticed that before. It's weird because you could be an ad, right? Pepsi Cola? If you're not, I apologize. Either way, the ads were very pervasive in the 2010s. Now, that's the other reason I wanted to buy this, is that not only is this an amazing comic that I got in the singles, but it's oversized, and since it's an oversized edition, like collection, there's no ads. And it's beautiful. So this is really cool. This is the Treasury edition for Tradmore's Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise. Now I'm sure most people have seen this already, and I'm sure I've even shown some of them on the stream, and I'm sure that you all know how great it is already. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I did want to just flip through it really quick and just point out some things that I resonate with in particular. I don't love the paper choice on this. Jeremy, like my joke? Pepsi Cola is apologizing for being on the wrong page. I appreciate that. Okay. I mean, where do you even, I don't even know, like, right? Well, I do know there's a couple scenes in particular I wanted to look at, so here, let me actually put this in a better spot. Now, if you haven't read this book, you absolutely should. I need to read it again. I've looked at it a million times, but I have not given the story a proper reread in a while. So Trad, at this point, when this was getting made, he's probably doing something completely different now, but he was so good at reducing things to shapes that, like, how is that Doctor Strange's hair? It absolutely is, right? But it's completely abstracted. And it's just 3 shapes, kind of, right? There's a black shape, a brown shape, and a white shape. And it's attached to his head, so that helps. But even his head and his body are very stylized. So I feel like in this one, he started breaking down. So if you look at, say, Luther Strode, it's sort of like the pinnacle of drawing everything exactly right, but still having a lot of energy. And then the New World kind of started to, it felt like he was pushing his cartooning a little bit more of like expressions and stuff. And then when you get to Silver Surfer Black or even this, it's almost like now it's an abstraction of the actual drawing itself. And the other cool thing about Fall Sunrise that you hadn't seen in past Trad stuff was he started doing these kind of things. These little tiny hatches, and like some scenes there's even scribble marks, right? And mostly Trad stuff is always clean lines, right? No hatching, you know, not since, what, Luther Strode 2 had hatching in it, but I think that was the last time he had any hatching in his work, of any, you know, significant hatching. And then it came back for this. So, okay, so check this out too, right? Now this is, even though this is oversized, and, you know, it's probably going to be hard to see, like these panels, there's a bunch of panels where Doctor Strange, and you think this is the oversized edition, where Doctor Strange and the figures in the panel are like, we're talking smaller than my thumbnail on the artist edition, right? So we're talking smaller than probably even my pinky on a regular comic. And somehow you know exactly what's happening in the panel. Doctor Strange is going down this hill, and there's two like little deer animals in front of him. Right? And now he's going through like this, and there's all these rocks around him and these trees and so much detail, but it's not detail in the sense of like a super hyper rendered thing. It's detail in he's found a way to represent all these different things in this panel, and the color holds especially help here, right? But he's got black shapes overlaying kind of lined like outline shapes overlying like non-shaped drawings, right? So you got like a black shape, and then behind that is drawings of trees, and that's a tree, and then you have drawings of trees that are just outlines, and then behind that you have these rocks that have just like tick marks going across them. So it's like three basic drawing kind of methods overlapped on top of each other to give you that effect. And he'll do it with shape too, like on this one you've got solid kind of rocky shapes, and then you have more kind of flowy rounded shapes. And then down here he's starting, like I said, doing some like these little kind of hatching lines here, kind of scribbly hatches. And I think he shares the studio with Ian Bertram, and I think that there's some cross-pollination going on there. This one, when I got the issue the first time, this panel right here, just it's just like, wow. This one right here is like, oof. Again, you've got trees on top of trees on top of trees, all done with just shapes, and negative space and positive space. And the only place he deviates from that is in the foreground, and that helps this be the foreground, right? And Doctor Strange is just a shape. But like you've got trees here on the panel borders, right? The gutters turning into trees, so you got one layer. And then you have these big colored versions, so that's another layer. And then you have the trunks start to go up. And then you start to see, okay, here's some black shapes of trees. And then the black shapes turn into a silhouette of the tree line. And then behind that, a circle, well, more trees with outlines, and then a circle for the sun. And so even in black and white, I'm sure this would still read. I don't know, the color helps a lot on all these, right? But I'm sure you would still see that, and it would look just as striking. Man, that one gets me every time. Every time I look at that, I'm just like, man. Just got mine too, Derek says. It's the only way to read this book. It really is. I can't imagine reading it on my singles anymore. I don't know why I would. Here he does this really cool kind of, I think he used a Bic pen maybe. And that's the other thing, is that I was watching an interview with him, and he talked about how he just, he'll do what he thinks is going to look good, and then worry about whether it prints later. It's like, if it prints, great. If it doesn't print, well, you know, it makes the original art that much more special. I love all these little panels he does, and there's a good balance between the words and the art. This is the other panel that when the issue came out, and this was like, again, this is bigger, so we're talking, this thing is like this big. And to see all the drama and detail and the drawing of like Doctor Strange walking down this cobblestone street with this, shadow over here, the blood drips, his shadow on the wall. It implies the whole depth of the hallway way, way back there. Oh man. Like, that's hard to do, right? Anybody can kind of like hatch something out, right? And it's impressive. I love a good cross hatch, right? But this like ability to take even a panel this small and put so much information into it, and not that it slows you down other than to marvel at it, but it sets a whole scene before you even get to where he starts doing these weird panel borders made out of the shapes of the buildings and stuff, right? And then it gets really weird here. And some of this stuff, you could also see when he did his Batman story. I don't know if you guys ever saw his Batman story. It's incredible. And then, of course, you got fight scenes. Trad's great at fight scenes. So I've probably talked about this before, but this whole scene is absolutely astonishing. this guy here too. First time I saw this was another new switch where he has these tiny little like patterns all over the armor, which is kind of, I mean, I love looking at armor. We have a good collection in Chicago at the Art Institute, and there was a lot of the decorative armor, you know, that important people would wear, not necessarily for battle as much as for show. And then yeah, he's over here doing this Alphonse Mucha kind of vibe, right? That's a new element that I feel like has come in. Everything just feels beautiful in the book. And then you get to these things, which are again crazy hatching to see Trad do, and again feels like an Ian Bertram influence, and that's pretty rad. I think when two artists can be friends, or more than two, and just cross-pollinate with each other, it's great. I feel like I try to do that with my friends. I mean, I take stuff from them. I hope they take stuff from me. And then this is cool. You had a guest artist in here. I forgot about that. So there was a couple more shots I wanted to show. Things get so wild in this book, and there's just about every kind of panel arrangement, every kind of storytelling. Like, he's got regular grids here, you know, but then he's also got these insane pages where you can tell what's happening, but the abstraction is pushed to the limit of what you can immediately perceive, and so you're drawn into it. You're drawn into the beauty of the lines and the shapes, and then you start to figure out what's happening. And up here, you know what? I don't think I even noticed this until this time. This here is the scene here, but with tiny little ant-sized people down here. You know? And I do stuff small sometimes, but this is real small. Like, this is real small. And I think when I got my comic, I just thought this was some sort of shape. I see something new every time I look at this. I will never get bored of looking at a book like this and giving it read-throughs. And then here, again, it's just this insane amounts of abstraction and sort of graphophilia, you know, just lines everywhere. The colors shift a lot towards the end, and it gets a little more fantastical. So again, here, I feel like I'm looking at Darrow or what's his name, Ricardo Delgado, or like Seth Fisher. This feels like the kind of thing he probably did, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but on autopilot, where you, I mean, I love to do this, where you just start drawing and see what happens. I haven't done that in a minute, but I absolutely love it, and you can tell that there's a joy to the work, and I really love that. I love it when I can feel that joy. Okay, so check this out. This was another one I wanted to show. He's taken the abstraction and sort of expanded on it. So he uses abstracted figures of Doctor Strange to create depth and pattern here. And he started playing with this. I feel like the first time I saw him playing with this was in Luther Strode. With some of the stuff in that, I remember some pattern type things like this when Samson and Delilah were together, I think. And he's got these Dr. Seuss furniture down here. Like, if that's not Dr. Seuss furniture, I don't know what is. And I mean that in the best way possible. That's Dr. Seuss furniture. But yeah, it's like you know, he's talking about dreaming. This has a little Nemo feel to it. I really love when stuff gets kind of weird and dreamy. I think that we need more of it in mainstream comics, and that's why when people like Try Get to Go Book, it really, I think it helps push others to try new things, right? Because it almost, when they take a gamble on an artist like this, or even like Dan, or I know Raphael Grandpa was doing a book, you know, those kind of artists, you know, it opens up the world to not just other artists to try new things, but also to readers to open their minds a little bit to what a book can look like or feel like. Okay, let's find one more here. His faces got real cool in this. Oh, here we go. Look how cool this is. Now this is my jam with the color, with the kind of vibe here. I love all these blobby shapes behind him. They're kind of like it's kind of like the inside of his cape. But even just having these blobby shapes that aren't a specific pattern, but these types of shapes fill this space. So it's not a hatching, and it's not a solid black, and it's not a screen tone, and it's not just a color. It's just kind of a blobby way of drawing that becomes like a pattern or texture. And he does the same thing with the hair. You know, it kind of becomes this, you know, pattern texture. And then you juxtapose that with just an outline of a body, and then it feels like, okay, now there's space and there's depth. I don't know if this is making any sense. I'm glad to know, though, that Trad uses the same trick as all the rest of us, and if you want something to look big, you put birds, you know, flying around it, so that you can tell that it's really big and there's birds up there. I believe he did most of this lettering, too, a lot of it on the pages, I think. I mean, not the balloons, but like stuff like the chapter titles. He got really good at drawing chains when he was on Ghost Rider, I think. Anyway, this book's incredible. Oh yeah, they got a little cover gallery back here. You should all check it out. I recommend getting this. I think I paid $15 for this, 14, 15 bucks. I can't believe how much this came out. It was $30. So it's kind of cool that you can pick it up a little cheaper now. Because I know when it came out, I wanted it, but it came out at a time where $30 was even a stretch for me. Here's Dan, Speak of the Devil. Dan and Mike Spicer doing a Doctor Strange here. I was trying to see if Dan snuck anything goofy in here. Sometimes he does little funny Easter eggs. I don't see any. This is a really amazing drawing. Dan is amazing for having the guts to just say, oh, you want a picture of Doctor Strange? Well, how about I draw a library? and Doctor Strange will be right here. Because when a character has a world to live in, you know, they're more interesting. When it's just a guy posing on a blank piece of paper, that's cool, but it's not as evocative. So he's smart about that. The James Heron one, it's kind of mid-James, I think. I know a lot of people like Peach Momoko. That's an okay cover. I haven't seen anything from Peach that I love yet. Ian, I think Ian's really good. This is a pretty weird drawing. Ian's signature looks a lot like John Cassidy's signature, which also looks kind of like my signature. But it's just an I, which I really like. John Cassidy's look like an I because of a J and a C. Mine has evolved a lot. Right now it's like a pi symbol, but before that it was like a T and a C, and so it kind of looked like the JC. Chris Anka, Paulina, I don't know what to say. Oh, here we go. Chase Conley, dude. Chase Conley, X-Men. He's doing the X-Men show, but he's a really amazing artist and animation director. Does some great stuff. Yeah, the only complaint I have about this book, well, I don't know. I'm kind of glad that they kept it soft cover and easy to handle. It has a little lip so that even if you do ding it like I have, it doesn't ding the pages on the inside. So even though it's not a hardcover, it's nice the way they do these Treasury editions. So anyway, well, thanks everybody. I really appreciate everybody who tuned in tonight, but also those who backed the campaign. Again, if you can hit the like button, subscribe, yada yada yada, tell a friend. Tell a friend in real life, not on social media, and you can do that too. But yeah, I'm really excited for BMC Comics, like that Daniel Johnson. Yes, definitely. But yeah, thanks everybody. I'm really excited that we got the book, you know, funded, and now it's just a lot of work to get it ready. But it will be something that I think everyone's going to get a lot out of, especially if you've not read this at all. It's my personal project, you know, my passion project, and so it's a little more. It feels a little more like it's coming straight out of me to you. And it's not that I don't care about the other things I work on. All of them are special, but it's all coming out of this heart, you know, out onto the paper. Those are the ones I'm really happy for people to have in their lives as an object. So thanks to everybody who backed. Anyway, I need to go rest. I'm very tired. And so everyone have a great evening. And again, thank you for tuning in. If you missed earlier, you know, skip back and watch some of the original art showcase and talk about these comics. But thanks everybody.